welcome to the Bjerkreim Bulletin. I'm your host, Paul Squires, and each show will be bringing you all the latest news and info on Bjerkreim's rebuilding in 2016 to get the club back to where it belongs in Norwegian football. It may have been 2 weeks since our last show, but what a 2 weeks it's been. Welcome to episode 4, and a special welcome to all our new listeners tuning into the podcast for the first time, now available through iTunes. In tonight's packed instalment, we'll be looking at last Saturday's grueling trip to Mostar, last week's game at Undheim, and also last night's game at Riska 2. As always, we're joined by Bjerkreim manager Paul Wandless. Hi, Paul.
Hello, as always, thank you for having me.
Great, thanks for joining us. We've a lot to cover, so let's jump straight in. So, last Saturday, we made the arduous 5-hour trip north to play league leaders Mostar. We suffered a 3-0 loss against a very, very informed side, with also having Kim Rune Kastet sent off after 2 yellows. Goals came on 18 minutes from Per Skimmerland, 70 minutes from Martin Skimmerland, and then finally Ruben Peterson sealed the win with a third in the dying minutes. That must have made the 5-hour trip home feel like an eternity, Paul.
Well, it's a bit less than 5 hours, unfortunately. I have to admit to you, I got the timing wrong. It took about 3.5.
Oh, that wasn't too bad.
So, a bit short of a journey on the way home. It wasn't the best day, and definitely one I don't want to relive. It was a day when the players got in the neck due to, in my opinion, it was lack of determination on the day. Unfortunately, I don't know if it was due to the travel. I don't know the reasons behind it. We've had a look and tried to determine what exactly went wrong, but it was definitely a day to forget. We did go up there with a weakened side due to people with injuries and work and other commitments, but it was definitely a day to forget. Unfortunately, their first goal was one from nothing, a strike which I don't even think they expected to score. Then after the sending off, they scored from the free kick resulting from the foul, and then late on they got the third when we'd pretty much collapsed by that point, unfortunately.
The morale of being 2 or 3-0 down had finally hit. So, I mean, as you said, we had a lot of players missing, so that would have given a chance to a lot of the fringe guys, you know, who were committed in training, but now we're getting the chance. How do you feel that they played?
Going away from that game, I wouldn't say anybody can go away with their heads held high. Okay. It was a performance to forget. The players know how I feel, so I won't go into detail on it. But anybody who was there on the day knows my thoughts.
Okay, fair enough. So, coming away from our guys, the opponents, did they actually play like league leaders, or was luck playing a part of it?
I think the distance they are away from everybody definitely helps, because I do fancy when they come down 2 weeks or so, I've got a feeling we can turn them over.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because obviously that was a bit of a grueling trip for us, and you know, that may have had some part to play with our guys not being on top of the game. But then they've got to come down and visit us, so hopefully it'll work in our favour that way as well.
That's the hope.
So the sending off of Kim for 2 yellows, he got picked his first yellow up on 8 minutes quite early on, and then his second on 69. Do you think they were both justified?
They were both tackles. They were both attempts to win the ball. It happens in football. Okay. At the end of the day, he was putting himself about, which is the role I asked on the day, was for Kim to get stuck in. And one thing Kim always brings to the table is hard work and effort. And
brilliant.
He did what was asked, which was to get in the faces of the opposition. And unfortunately, a couple of the tackles caught the eye of the referee.
Fair enough. That's just more unfortunate than anything. Okay. All right. So after that, last Thursday night, we made the short trip to play Undheim in their new stadium, where the home side ran out and beat us 4-1 winners. But despite the scoreline and despite the new gleaming stadium they were proud to show off, none of these were the main talking points from the game. Paul, it was in fact the atrociously poor standard of refereeing on display from the match official Christian Temsland.
Well, I think it's best, in case the Norwegian FA decide to listen to the Bjerkreim Bulletin, that I bite my tongue on this one and be careful with what I say. But it was a very, very disappointing evening with a few decisions which could have, should have, and would have gone the other way on a different day, including when we were 1-0 to the good. Our striker threw on goal. All he had to do was release the shot and score the goal, and he gets brought down from behind for the referee to wave play on.
Wow.
Which is very frustrating, because they went up the other end and scored.
It's always the way in football, isn't it?
It was a frustrating evening, and what I will say is, coming off the back of the Monster game, the determination and the effort I saw from the team was totally different, and it was fantastic to see a reaction which I asked for.
Brilliant.
And as I say, I think if we went 2-0 up, I don't think there would have been a chance for Undheim to get back into the game, especially when their equalising goal came from their first attempt. The ball running through our keeper collects it, they 2-foot tackle the keeper, he drops the ball due to the challenge, and then they put it in the back of the net.
Back of the net.
But it's a frustrating evening because I personally felt from minute 1 to minute 90 we were playing against 12 men. Now I know, as you say, it was a brand new stadium, so maybe a certain person on the pitch wanted to get his name in the paper.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so our goal came from Andreas Letterberg on 13 minutes, which, as you say, made it 1-0 up. And then it was pretty much a minute or two later that they got their equaliser. After half-time, Torstein Takdal Brace got them back out in front, and then the fourth came from Marius Undheim with about 15 minutes left on the clock. One of the... to add to insult to injury on a couple of things there, we also had Torbjorn Solberg sent off again for 2 yellow cards in quick succession, within pretty much 3 or 4 minutes of each other. Do you think they were justified? Did the referee get this right?
Nope.
Okay.
The second yellow card was a tackle where he won the ball. It very, very clearly won the ball, and I can't put my finger on why it was a second yellow. It wasn't a bad tackle. It wasn't an aggressive tackle. He won the ball. It's one of them games, Paul, where unfortunately we got bent over and screwed for minute 1.
Okay, and that probably we best leave it. What obviously the second that didn't help is keeper Jostein Merkesdal went off injured, and we ended up with striker Per Are Svella going in goal. How do you think he was in goal?
He's not too bad. He played in goal in pre-season, due to the keeper being absent, and we actually won the game. But what I will say is, it's not Per's best position in terms of what he wants to do. So we have to say well done to him for taking the decision himself. He took the decision to go in goal. So I want to thank him for that.
Fantastic. No, that was a proper team spirit team, taking one for the team as such. Okay, so moving on, do you feel that the Undheim played, that much better? It's better to warrant a 4-1 scoreline?
Undheim were a very, very good footballing side. They did not play long. They played football. They tried to get down. They played nice 1-2 passing. They played short. They were definitely a good side. They deserved to score goals. But as I say, I think if we went 2-0 up, there's no way the morale of Undheim would have got them back into the game.
Yeah.
So
okay.
It was a tough one to take.
Okay. So there was a number of new faces again in this team. How did you feel they played and stepped up to the mark?
I think there was definitely positives throughout the team, without focusing on individuals. I really do think, as a team effort, I was pleased with the reaction I got after the Monster game.
Okay, all right, brilliant, and something to be aware of, Paul. I don't know whether you know this, and it might be best you don't make comment. According to the league's website, we're due to have the same referee for our away game at Tonstad on the 12th of September. So that might be something to bear in mind for future. And
fantastic. Thank you for dropping that on me.
I thought you'd be pleased with that, but I thought it might give you a couple of months' notice. And obviously trying to end this conversation part on a bit of a lighter note, Paul. Undheim's new ground, was it nice?
No, dreadful.
Oh, okay.
It was like going back to school.
Oh, right. Okay, all right, moving swiftly on then. Okay, so up next was for Bjerkreim was last night. It was our third away trip on the bounce to the Riska Stadion to meet Riska 2, the reserve side of the club higher up the league. They beat us 2-0 with both goals coming pretty much in the last 10 minutes from Sindre Stragborli and then Thomas Veer with 5 minutes left. So coming into this, they were second in the table, scoring an average of 4 goals per game and only conceding 1. So, considering that we only conceded the two, it's got to be a positive. Mentally, we could have done with a home game against a side lower down the table near us, and not an away game against another free scoring team chasing promotion. Sorry, but in the end, Paul, despite the scoreline, the lads put in a great performance, and actually, we were unlucky to get beat.
I was actually happy to have this game come up because we getting them out the way. The three away games have been against three very good sides.
Yeah.
So it means they gone now, they finished. But this was a game where I genuinely said to the players before last night in training that it was almost a free hit because nobody expected us to go there and do anything.
Sure.
I'd been stopped in the street last week, and somebody said, "Oh, it's going to be a tough one next week. How many are you counting?" And I said to him, "You need to show a bit more respect to the players." I said, "We've got a really good side, and I think as long as we go there and put in a performance, I'm happy."
Yes.
People need to understand that in the bigger picture, we're building something long term here, not short term.
Not short term. Yeah.
The short term goal is to develop the footballing style of the team. Then long term results will come. And last night was a 10 steps forward situation, and I mean that we stepped forward so many steps. If there was a possession stat, if there was somebody on the side keeping check, we would have had above 60% possession. And for the first 15 minutes of the first half, we dominated, and until their penalty in the second half, we were by far the better team. We kept the ball short. I changed the tactic a little bit. I dropped Ola back, who was captaining for the third game in a row. He's captained in all three away games. And yeah, Ola dropped back to play more deep lying starting position, and it just worked superbly. We played very short. Nothing went long. We were playing out of defence. We were playing through midfield. We were playing wide through the middle. And Riska did not know what hit them. I think they expected to come up against a team who's bottom of the league with no confidence, where they actually come up with up against a team who's just got through our pre-season. We've come up against a couple of good teams, but we're building something, and we actually have a lot of confidence.
And you and the players should take confidence from the fact that, when you put tactics in with guys like Otto dropping back and you know that you can control and game and you can get that possession control of the game and put far superior sides when you look at it on paper in the home ground and take control of the game from them.
Exactly. I think it was one of them games where on the sideline I knew what we were doing and I knew it was working. I felt really happy that the tactic which I put together for the players are buying into it now, and I think
Brilliant.
week by week the players who come each week are believing more and more in what's happening, and they are becoming more of a footballing team. We're not just a kick long and hope team. We are a very good footballing team to come and watch now, and I think each week we're only going to get better. And it was a funny situation during the second half, if I've got time to tell you, Paul.
Sure.
We had a shot about 10 minutes into the second half, and it was our first shot of the second half after just playing nice short football around in the midfield. And one of the people who was watching in the stand, they cheered like a sarcastic cheer.
Right.
And I heard the opposition's bench kind of turned round and shut them up.
Brilliant.
And the reason behind that was the opposition's bench were getting more and more frustrated because the dugouts were right next to each other. Like we were literally 5 metres apart.
Wow.
And I could hear the assistant and the manager talking throughout the second half, and they were worried because we were getting more and more forward. We were passing, and for the first 10-15 minutes of the second half, they only had the ball when they were clearing it from defence, and all we were missing was that final pass. And it is something we worked on, and as a lot of people will say, football's judged by results, and yes, at the end of the season it is, but you need to put something together before you can get the results, and
they don't come overnight.
that was not in place at Bjerkreim when I took over, and that is something I want to reiterate. When I come into the club, we had nothing, and you can't just walk onto the pitch with people who don't play football and get victories.
Sure.
You have people who can play football, and then people who can play football. And we are developing a team who are going to go out there, and when the opposition leave, they leave saying, we got taught a lesson tonight.
Yes.
And that's what we're becoming. We are becoming that. Last night, I honestly believe all the players left last night knowing that they are football players now. They know how good they can be, because we took a team who had players who are on the books of a team a lot higher up, and we taught them a lesson at times in that game.
Fantastic. So it's working. It's not just the confidence that you guys are getting. It's actually scaring the opposition, and it's making them sit back and take notes.
It's getting there. Because, I mean, the frustrating thing as well, Paul, is that their penalty they got in the 80th minute, our goalkeeper actually saved it. And it was actually a Scottish goalkeeper, Darren Ross, who actually made his debut in goal last night. And he was superb. Absolutely superb. And he saved the penalty. But unfortunately, the goalkeeper, the referee said he dived forward, which, as far as I'm concerned, is not against the rules. But he made that be retaken, and they scored the retaken penalty. Then their second goal, it was a wonderful strike. It was a wonderful strike, Paul. But 9 out of 10 of them would go 20 yards over. So
right.
You've just got to say, fair play. You've got the second, but you got the chance to get in the lead from a retaken penalty, and we need to take positives from that. I do sound like a manager in my own bubble here, but we really do need to take the positives from it.
Absolutely. I mean, coming off the back of those other two defeats, as you say, it could be a case of other teams expecting a team, low on confidence. They're not doing too well, and to go there and be a solid, good tactical footballing team, rather than bunch of players and putting them on the back foot. And when you say they only caught their first break by the referee's decision to make it retaken.
Yeah, I mean, the referee had a good game, so I'm not gonna jump on him for that. I spoke to him after the game. He gave his opinion on what happened. At the end of the day, I'm on the dugout on the halfway line, Paul. So
sure.
If he's given me his view, all I can say is, okay, thank you for the game. Yeah. I shook his hand, and we left like that. I mean, he had a good game. He didn't give any crazy decisions throughout the game. So at the end of the day, it's fair play to him for giving his honest opinion at the end of the day.
All right, brilliantly, and it was good that he took his time out to explain his decision as well, because he knew it was obviously so key. Okay, so thankfully this was the last of our tough run of 3 away games in 11 days against the top 3 sides in our division, and now it's a nice break of 12 days to rest mentally and physically before we meet Wagenes at home in Vikasor on the 30th of May. What will be the focus for you and the guys on training during this break?
It's attacking play, because we're not scoring enough goals, Paul. We starting to play, as I've said, we starting to play beautiful football. Absolutely beautiful. Some of the 1-2 passing, it was pass move all the time. But it's just either that killer ball, or when you're getting in that goal scoring chance, you may be rushing it, or the crosses are not too well. We also had a fair few set pieces last night, Paul, which went straight to the goalkeeper, so I want to work on them as well.
So that's something to work on. That's always a good option. Certainly using some of the taller guys for corners and things like that might be something for us to look forward to in the future.
Definitely.
Brilliant. Okay, so obviously remembering as well that we're still actually unbeaten at home. So what are your initial thoughts on the Wagenes game a week on Monday?
It's the game I've earmarked as our first 3 points of the season in terms of victories. We need to win it. We're going to win it. We developing each week as a side. I've got 2 more training sessions next week before the match. I'm gonna look at possibly a third one, but I'm unsure due to work commitments of the players, because at the end of the day, these lads are going on working hard every day. Sure. So I can't keep dragging them into train. But the training sessions we do have, they're going to be intense, they're going to be hard, they're going to be fast, and we will go out there and we will show them what type of a side we are at the end of the day, Paul.
Fantastic. Well, you wonder if they had somebody watching last night's game, then they will be going back reporting that, this is an outfit that we need to take notice of and be worried about.
I hope so.
Okay.
Because then they might sit a little bit deeper.
Yes, even better. Okay, brilliant. So, other than the three games that we were involved in, there have only been three other matches played in our division since our last podcast 2 weeks ago. Undheim beat Varganes, our next opponents 4-3, just before we played them, making it 8 goals in 2 games scored for Undheim. A 90th minute consolation was all Helleland could manage in their 2-1 defeat by previously bottom side Freuland 2. And then finally, last night's opponents, Riska 2, destroyed Lie by 4 goals to 1 away from home. That should also put in perspective how well Bjerkreim did just to concede the 2 when they were at Riska's home ground. So the table shows at the top we have Riska 2 on 15 points from 6 games, Mosta, who we played last week, on 13 points from 5, and then third it's Undheim on 10 points from 5. At the opposite end of the table, sadly, it's still ourselves on the bottom in 9th with 3 points from 6. Then it's Lie and Tonstead just above us, both with 4 points from 5 games. If you haven't already done so, head over to the English section of the Bjerkreim website to read this month's issue of our club magazine. The club's new website is available in both English and Norwegian, and you can find it at www.bjerkreimfootball.com. Check out the club's Facebook page at Bjerkreim IL Football for videos and news, and on Twitter the club's official account is at Bjerkreim IL. Make sure you go and give them a like, a follow and a read. That's it for tonight. Apologies, it's been one with too much good news in, but when you think about it, that's why we all love football. It's the low times and the defeats we suffer which make those victories taste oh so much sweeter, and let's hope for a sweet taste a week on Monday. Thanks for joining us again tonight, Paul.
It's no problem. I've actually got a surprise for you. I wanted to save till the last little bit. Just so you know, Paul, that next Wednesday, before the training session, I'll be doing another live Facebook recording.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic.
I'll sit down for 10 minutes before training starts as the players arrive and pull a couple over.
That will be brilliant. So make sure you tune into Facebook and get on there and meet some of the players. And if you've got any questions, you can pop them on screen and Paul will get the guys to answer them.
Definitely.
Brilliant. Looking forward to it. Okay, thanks for listening and see you next time. Hadabra.